So the 9th International Santal Conference just wrapped up in Darjeeling, and it's really put a spotlight back on one of India's most fascinating indigenous communities. But who are the Santals? Well, we're about to dive deep into their amazing culture, their fierce fight for their rights, and a legacy that's literally written into the law of the land.
And honestly, this image is the perfect place to start. Just look at it. You can almost feel the unity, the rhythm, that deep, deep connection to tradition. You see, this isn't just a festival dance. It's a living, breathing symbol of the Santal spirit. It's the kind of culture so profound that they have fought for centuries to protect it. This right here is what was at stake.
So who exactly are the Santals? I mean, their story is one of incredible depth. We're talking about an ancient people with roots in what's known as the Austroasiatic family. Now that might sound academic, but it connects them to communities as far away as Vietnam and Cambodia. And the amazing part is that ancient history, it is very, very much alive today.
And those ancient roots have spread far and wide. Today, the Santal homeland stretches right across eastern India. You'll find major populations in Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha, Bihar, and Assam. And it doesn't stop there. Their community even extends into neighboring Bangladesh and Nepal, which makes them a really significant presence across the whole region.
Okay, so we've got the who and the where, but what about the how? How do they live? Well, the Santal culture is this incredibly vibrant tapestry and is really defined by two things: celebration and a uniquely deep connection to the natural world.
And you can see their spirit come alive in two major festivals. First, you've got Sohrai, which is their main celebration, usually tied to the harvest. But it's Sarhul that, for me, really reveals their worldview. The name literally means worship of the Sal tree. Think about that. This isn't just about respecting nature. It's a deep ecological spirituality where the natural world is sacred. It's a core, fundamental part of their identity.
But, and this is a big but, this peaceful, nature-focused culture was forced into a dramatic fight for its very survival. So now we have to shift gears, because this is a story of struggle, of resistance, and a relentless fight for their land and their autonomy, especially under British rule. So look at this timeline. It really maps out a whole century of struggle. You can see the story unfold right here, from that early resistance back in 1784 to a deceptive promise of land from the British in 1832. And that promise? It explodes into the massive revolt of 1855 before finally leading to a hard-won victory in 1885. Let's break down what happened at each of these key moments.
First up, what was the Damin-i-Koh? Well, back in 1832, the British marked out this huge territory and basically said, this is the land of the Santals. The idea was to get them to stop their nomadic life, start farming with plows, and become settled peasants. On the surface, it sounded like a promise, but of course, it came with strings attached, and it ultimately just opened the door for their exploitation.
And the Santal response to this betrayal? It has its own powerful name, Hul. It's a Santali word for revolt. But this wasn't just chaos or random violence. No. A Hul was an organized, unified cry for justice against all those broken promises and the oppressive systems they were living under.
And the seeds of this revolt were planted early. The first major Hakyo was way back in 1784, led by the legendary Tilka Maji. He actually organized his fellow Adivasis into an army to fight back against famine and the brutal policies of the East India Company. This was one of the earliest organized uprisings against the British anywhere, and it really set a precedent for everything that was to come.
All of that history set the stage for the main event, the Great Santal Revolt of 1855. And what's so important here is that many historians consider this the first major peasant movement in India. It was a massive uprising against the exploitative zamindari system that had been forced on them.
And at the very heart of this huge revolt was a single family, the four Murmu brothers, Sindhu, Kanhu, Chand, and Bhairav. And you can't forget their incredibly brave sisters, Fulo and Jano. Together, they led tens of thousands of Santals in a fight for their dignity, their culture, and their land.
So, after all this struggle, what was the outcome? What happened? Well, the Santals didn't just survive. They built an enduring legacy. A legacy that is, remarkably, written both in the laws of the country and in the letters of their very own language.
And here's the crucial point. They won. The sheer scale and ferocity of the Hul forced the British to act. So in 1885, they created the Santal Pargana district, which was basically a protected territory. And even more importantly, they passed laws making it illegal for a Santal to transfer land to a non-Santal, protecting them from the very outsiders or dikus they had fought against.
But the fight for identity wasn't just about land, it was also about language. Then, in 1925, a visionary named Pandit Raghunath Murmu invented the Ol Chiki script. Now, this was absolutely monumental. For the first time, it gave the Santali language its own unique writing system. It was a powerful tool to preserve their culture, their stories, and their history all in their own words. And that legacy, that fight for recognition, it continues right into modern India. This number, 92, it might seem totally random, but it represents an incredible victory. This is the 92nd Amendment Act of 2003. This was the moment the Santali language was officially added to the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. A struggle that began with bows and arrows was finally, officially, cemented in the highest law of the land.
So we end with a question for you to think about. The story of the Santals really shows that a script is so much more than just letters on a page, isn't it? It's a declaration of identity, it's a shield for culture, and it's a vessel for history. It kind of makes you wonder, how does that simple act of writing, in your own way, actually help ensure a people's survival?